Live.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Entertainment Enthusiast Podcast. This is our very first episode. So me and Charlie here. Say your name.
Oh,
Go
what's
ahead.
up? What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. And literally very first episode of our first ever created podcast. Yeah, this is our first one that we've done on our own. And so yeah, I'm really excited to actually have fun doing these reviews and whatever we're gonna be doing.
Yep. It's just Charlie and I tonight. We're kind of going to work out the kinks. So figured if it's a train wreck, at least it's just us two that are wasting our time and not everyone else. So this was kind of Charlie's idea to do this channel. So did you want to talk about like what you had in mind for like just like some shows or what the channel itself is going to be about?
Sure, essentially, Sean and I were part of another channel a while back, and it was just focused on movies and TV, and that yeah, it was good. But I kind of there's some stuff I kind of wanted to cover, like gaming. We're gamers. We love playing video games. So we want to cover the gaming aspect because it's a huge market, and especially with what's going on now with the unfortunate writer's strike and the actor's strike. 2024 might be kind of bare with movies and TV. So this was I just again I followed this channel way before that even happened. But now I'm going back thinking, we can do. There's so much more avenue what we can do. So essentially, like I said, we'll cover movies. We'll cover new stuff, old stuff, stuff that you want us to cover. All that kinds of stuff. So we'll cover movies, whether it be reviews. We got a lot of a lot of trivia stuff that we could potentially start doing for shows. Top 10 list of the year, not just the current year, but previous years. So some of our favorite years, their decades in movies. We can cover that. TV, we'll cover that. There'll be there's a lot of shows I want to cover, like some of my all-time favorite shows I never really got a chance to review, but I always wanted to cover those because they're just great shows. Gaming, yeah, we'll be covering gaming. Maybe not a lot of reviews at first, but maybe once we start getting as Sean said, the kinks together, and once that, and if we love the game so much, we played it from start to finish, we'll do some reviews, we'll do some news on it. But for the most part, we'll be doing live streams and let's plays. And that's something we've always wanted to do, because everybody's playing games live and everybody's watching people play games live. Want to know that? So, and a lot of it maybe will be co-op first, and then if there's a game that one of us has, we'll do a show on it. And the thing with this is it's not just Sean and I, as we mentioned. It's a big group of us, and they'll be covering a lot of stuff. Like Tim, our good friend Tim, he might be on here covering some horror stuff because he loves the horror movies, that kind of stuff. Tim and I might actually do a show on, as you can see in my background here. No, that's not that. Those are actually movies I have stacking up for 4Ks. I'm a collector, and I saw Tim's collection. OMG. His whole room is filled with them. So we might cover physical media stuff because
Collector's Corner.
Yeah, Collector's Corner. Another show, Sean, you're a big fan of anime, so you'll be covering some anime stuff. And
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good thing with having a lot of people involved with this, is that our tastes are all different, really. Yes, we do have some commonalities, but out of our friends, I feel like I'm the only one that really watches like anime, like you said, like Korean dramas and stuff like that. And then Tim is super into horror, and then Charlie, you're an action junkie. So it's just kind of you yeah, there'll be a bunch of different stuff instead of the same old shit you see everywhere.
Yeah.
I think starting out, we'll definitely be on top of doing a podcast once a week. So that'll come out. I'll probably do at least one YouTube video a week, and then have one day or night, I should say, of a streaming, whether it's just one person doing that or we do like a co-op thing.
Yeah.
At least until we get our legs going, and then from there, who knows? But a lot of us are very busy people, have families, so
Yeah.
we're kind of doing this for fun, and
Yeah.
hopefully, if you join us on this adventure, that you'll at least find us somewhat amusing and
Mhm.
continue to listen/watch.
Yeah. Like think of us as an entertainment channel, like or like or a TV station where you have a different all types of different content that's for all different audiences. Definitely don't recommend kids watching this. We'll let you know if there's something's kid friendly but for the most part, this is not for kids. Um, but yeah, like what I said, we're glad to start this, and like we hope you're joining us for the ride because I've known these guys like we all met like how like if someone would intro about how we met like I started at worked at a movie theater, one of our local ones back in May of 2009, and that's where I met Sean, Tim, and and a bunch of all the other guys that were going to be joining us. I met them for working at a movie theater, and I'll admit when I first started, I was like I didn't know anybody, and then I think it was like about a year later, I think The Expendables was coming out with Stallone, and it was like I became good friends with Sean and Tim because the fourth Rambo movie and the one with him in Burma because it's called the fourth Rambo movie is not Rambo 4, it's called Rambo. So if you're a little confused, it's Rambo, but it's called just Rambo, or in some different countries, it was called John Rambo. So anyway, it was like
why did they put John in front of it?
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
Kind of like that, to be honest. Yeah. Like instead of just Rambo, it's like, oh, this is the first one. But
yeah, everybody would think it would be Rambo. It was like, oh no, the first one was Rambo First Blood First Blood. But no, it was the fourth Rambo one where him in Burma. And we all loved that movie so much. We just bonded and we became good friends. And I've known Sean and Tim for about, almost 13 years now. Well, no, more than that.
But did you play with us? Because we used to do so. Like most people, well, yeah, I guess all the people on this channel minus Lawrence and my brother, I met through working at this movie theater. And like one of the big things is like we'd be working together like all day, and then we'd get home and hop on Xbox 360 and then just be playing games together like all night.
Yeah.
Did you play Gears with us before we went to see Rambo? I feel like you had to.
I know I never saw Rambo with you guys. I watched it off like that. I think it was the Expendables. I think Rambo came out in 2008.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. But no, it was I think it was August 2009, like Labor Day weekend 2009. That's when I bought an Xbox, and that's when I got Gears. And I think I started playing maybe a little bit after that. But before then, like I didn't join you guys on the Gears games, but eventually I did. I remember like one game we were playing. You guys were doing. I'll admit, there's a show that freaks me out as a kid, and it's, to this day, it still freaks me out. And Sean, I'm pretty sure you know what this is.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys did the voices, and I was just silent. And Tim was like, "Man, you made Charlie Quinn."
He's talking about Beavis and Butthead.
Oh yeah. So if you expect me to review that show, I'm sorry. That's gonna be a no for me. That show freaks me out.
R.I.P. What's his face? The guy that voiced Dale from King of the Hill.
Yeah, I know. I saw that he passed. He was supposed to come back for the revival series. They were about to do and he just passed. But no, so anyway. But no, it was like that. And I remember like you guys were all talking about Borderlands, the first game, and I bought Borderlands 1. And I never played it.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Sometimes yeah, I know. And then I bought that Assassin's Creed Revelations game. I bought that too, and we played a little bit of that. But yeah, no, but no, I've known it was all because we worked at a movie theater, and we got a lot of stories just from working at that theater.
Mm-hmm. I just remember so we would hype up games at the theater because that's what we all were gamers, and so even if the game was kind of shitty, we didn't know about it. I mean, IGN and stuff was still around, was around, but I mean, reviews usually came out the day right before the game came out.
Yeah,
I feel like now usually they drop they have, I guess, those media release dates, so you usually get them a week prior. Mm-hmm. But back in the day, you didn't. And I just remember we were so hyped for this game called Two Worlds. It was like a fantasy RPG So we went out, we got it the day it came out. We were playing it up in the booth, so like where we have all our projectors and stuff. Like Nick's playing it, and this one kid was so excited because we hyped this game up so much. He came up, watched Nick play it after buying it, and then immediately went back to GameStop and returned it because it just looks so shitty, and it was a terrible game. I think Nick 100%ed it though, just because, but it was like a terrible like action RPG. Like it was horrendous.
I mean, yeah, but yeah, we all have different knowledges of games. That's why I always wanted to cover gaming because it's a big aspect to it. Because gaming's not going to be effective for the most part by strikes, and that's the big thing too that I came to realize. Oh yeah, that's right. Because there's so many games out there that everybody likes. Everybody likes playing games, so that's why I was like, yeah, I always wanted to cover games. Gaming, let's plays, and it's just a chance for us to hang out since again we're all really busy. But this was like the one thing because we were part of it. Sean, you created originally a podcast called This Is Toast, and I remember when I just joined it, it was towards the back end of it, and we were like, we always wanted to try to do a let's play.
Yeah,
and then we tried that Tomb Raider game.
Yeah, we did. We co-op that. We did like a review on it. A joint review.
But eventually at some point, we'll be covering reviews at some point. But for now, like at least until we get get going, and once we get a regular schedule going, then we'll probably do some reviews. But like at some point we'll cover Extra Life because we used to do a bunch of those Extra Life events, which they're fun. If you don't want to know Extra Life is, Extra Life was it's a little fundraiser kind of thing they would do, and then you can donate your money to any specific causes to fight mainly cancer is one of the big diseases, but you can donate to any hospital. So you can essentially
hospital.
Yeah, so mainly the one I would anytime I was to join them, I would try to donate to Children's because Children's is the hospital that saved my life. But no, so essentially you play games for 24 hours. I don't think I've gone to 24 hours. I've gone a couple times, but we might try to do one of those, and because that's
November 4th this year.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to do that one, but like I said, we don't have to do it on November 4th. That's just the national day, but we can
do it on November 4th. Even if everyone else doesn't do it, we need to do it on November 4th.
Well, actually, I wouldn't be able to do it. I got comedy show tickets that night.
Cancel the comedy show. We're doing Extra Life November.
I wish.
Is that all day? Is that all day, Charlie?
It's at night.
Okay. Well, you got from I think it starts at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. when you have to leave to go to the comedy show, and then when the comedy show's over, it's not going to be 10 a.m. the next day, so you can come back. You just leave for a little bit, and then you come back.
But that's just a national day. But like we'll figure that out. But we'll try to do that at some point. And then yeah, we got a bunch of other stuff coming. Like again, it could be we just do it on the fly. I had I forgot my list. I had a huge list of all these ideas.
No, we don't want to tease that.
No, we're not going to tease that. We had a bunch of stuff, but so you if for all the other stuff, you just got to wait and see for that. But no, like I said, I'm really excited to do this, and it's a chance to hang out with you guys because you guys had my back, and you guys will always have my back, and that's the big reason I wanted to do this with you guys is because how things has transpired at the end of the year. I won't get into here, but no, like you guys had my back, and that's what was the motivation to start this new page because I love talking about movies. I love talking about entertainment, and again, I'm really excited to literally start this journey with creating my own channel. And I'm the captain of the ship, but I'm not really a captain. I'm like co-captain. But
captain, Charlie.
Okay, fine. I'm the captain, and at this point, anything we do, it's like we're just gonna try it, and if it works, it works. If it does, that's fine. We'll go to the next thing. I'd be like Jason Statham throwing a knife at a dartboard.
So we were thinking for this first test episode, we would kind of list and like kind of just talk about and bullshit about our top 3 movies, TV shows, and games, because then that way you can get a general idea of what our personalities will be like. And then, I mean, obviously reviews are subjective, so moving forward, you might assume that like Charlie might rank this movie higher than this one just because he prefers X
Yeah.
over Y. So yeah, so which one do you want to kick off first? Do you want to do TV shows, movies, or video games?
Let's start with movies, but before we get into that, we'll be creating our own little rating system that's unique to us at some point. I don't know what that's going to be, but it's something that's going to be just kind of funny because I kind of like to give a rating for a movie, especially if I hated it. Like for instance, last night I watched that Heart of Stone movie on Netflix with Gal Gadot.
Mhm.
That was terrible. That was boring. I was like, I already said, Heart of Stone, more like Heart of Boar. Like, but no, like we'll have to create like a little, like we'll create our own little rating system for this, like for our reviews and stuff. And again, like Sean said, all movies are subjective. Everybody likes different stuff, and just because if hey, I might like Marvel movies, and I have a lot of
Yeah.
Marvel movies that I enjoy on my list. I shouldn't be like you shouldn't call me a Marvel fanboy. And like, no, I just like movies that entertain me. As long as I'm entertained, it's fine. That's the whole point about movies. Is as long as like if you like it, you don't like it, it's fine. But like if like just to let everyone know, if you attack us for our reviews, you'll be immediately blocked. I'll just say that.
It's funny though that like it's when you talking about our review system because I was actually thinking about that last night. So tomorrow we are gonna go see the Meg 2, and then the next podcast will be a review of the Meg 2. But anyway, so I'd never seen Meg 1, so I was watching it and like I don't know what it got rated or what people rated it as, but like watching, I was like, okay, it's a movie about like they're hunting a giant shark. And the movie was awesome, but it's not by any means a great movie, but it what you know about the movie is what it delivers. So in my opinion, that's a 10 out of 10. Like, it's like Jason Statham fighting a shark. So it's like a Jaws movie brought into the 21st century, and that's exactly what it was. So it was awesome. Like I loved it. I thought it was great.
I mean, again, it's like I was the only bummer about that movie. I didn't see Jason Statham roundhouse a shark. That was what I really wanted. That's what I really wanted because it was like, oh, Jason Statham, yeah, and like his name was cool, and the Meg is based off which I didn't even know 7 books. I thought I was like, so I'm like, oh man, like, and then Jason Statham, he plays a character named Jonas Taylor, JT, like he's just terrific.
I didn't even take it as that. Just terrific.
Just terrific, but no, like he's the main character, and it's just like okay. I mean, again, we're big Statham fans too. We love Stallone. We have Statham. I mean, Statham. There's movies that Statham does that I don't care for, but he's for the most part Statham delivers. And if you going in, you're watching a Jason Statham movie, then and then like and again you'll probably like it, but but no, and it was just your reaction was like, man, this is better dialogue in that last Jurassic Park movie. I'm like, yeah, I agree.
That was terrible.
I saw that in the theaters. I was bored, and I was like, the only part I liked is 9 seconds of the movie was a guy on like a guy casually strolling on a scooter getting eaten by a dinosaur. Like it's a 9 seconds, but it's the funniest moment. Like so random. He's getting eaten by a dinosaur. But yeah, anyway, but yeah, so it'll be like we'll create a rating system. We don't know what that's going to be yet. It'll probably be something that's going to be kind of funny. But we'll keep you posted on that. And like when you start seeing our reviews and our review system, there you go. But yeah, I just figured I'd mention that. That's for us. But yeah, for movies, like my top 3. That's tough.
I think you should we'll alternate. You do your third pick and
Got it.
Work it down.
Yeah, so my list right now, like it's always changing. I think my number 3rd one is probably got to be The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight all time. That movie was that was such an experience because that changed the game. That was when DC was at its peak. That's like because you're wondering, has DC ever been good? Oh, DC's been good. When Christopher Nolan was in charge of the Batman trilogy, that was some of the most like well shot, acted, performed, everything. That like even though a lot of people don't like the 3rd one, I thought it was great. But The Dark Knight, coming off Batman Begins, The Dark Knight changed the game for that. I mean, that at the time that was the highest grossing movie opening weekend. Everybody had to go see that movie. The performances were phenomenal in that. Heath Ledger was great, but it's just that for me, it was as Batman. Like that's why
Yeah.
Christian Bale is my favorite Batman. But it's just that experience of watching The Dark Knight and everything about it. How Christian Bale's telling people, "Don't bring your kids to this because
Yeah.
it's scary." And it was just one of those experiences that I was like, that was just a great experience.
Yeah. Heath Ledger as the Joker is like hard to beat. Like
Yes.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
My number 3, I'm gonna go with Mallrats by Kevin Smith.
Classic.
Super funny. It hits like my sense of humor. I'm a big comic book guy, so like the jokes are on point. Just loved everything about it. I know like when he made that movie, it kind of flopped, but it found like I guess its audience on DVD release.
Hmm.
But I love that movie. It's so funny. That's not even like my first Kevin Smith movie. Like growing up, my first one was Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. So I did not get any of the references. Like, and then as I got older, I went back through the catalog, and Mallrats was definitely like my favorite one out of everything he's done.
It's a great movie. Like I love that movie. And I love the director's cut because it adds more to Mallrats. Because there's two cuts. If you haven't seen Mallrats, there's the normal cut, which the opening is a little bit different, but and then the director's cut, which has a way different opening, and there's like way much more footage, and it adds more. I think it adds more to the movie. But no, Mallrats was great. I think it was that or Dogma was my first Kevin Smith one that I watched. So like, and then because I binged them all when Clerks 3 came out last year. I binged all of them, and they're just like, and then I was like going in and watching Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I'm like, there is no way this movie would ever get made this year, like in this decade.
Oh,
Right now,
really?
no way, no way. If you haven't seen Jay and Bob Strike Back, see it. It's great. It's definitely one of my favorite Kevin Smiths. Alone, I think with Clerks 2. Clerks 2.
Yeah, Clerks 2 is awesome. Like,
Yeah, that was like that. I mean, I loved Clerks 3, but Clerks 2 for me is the best one out of all of them.
yeah,
And
that's
that's one.
probably the best Kevin Smith movie is Clerks 3. Just like if you're
Yeah,
trying to appeal to like the most people.
yeah, and like Clerks 3, it's funny, but it's a gut punch. I'm not gonna deny that. Like, it's a gut punch. But no, like, and it made me appreciate that movie more because I binged all the other ones, so I was able to pick up all the references. Like, did you see Clerks 3, Sean?
I have not yet.
Okay,
My
yeah.
brother put it on a USB for me, but I still haven't watched it.
I think it might be on my my Vudu account because
Okay.
I have the 4K, so I think I can give you my
It
login for that. It's
might be on
Clerks 3 is
Amazon
great.
Prime now, but I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
probably is on Prime or Stars or whatever, one of those streaming services. But no, like, but yeah, I watched all of them, and I was able to pick up every reference in Clerks 3 because I binged all the other ones. But yeah, I love Mallrats, and I speaking of that, I actually got the 4K version of it. Just came out.
I don't know if you necessarily need the 4K of Mallrats.
Well, it comes with the Blu-ray, and I don't own the Blu-ray at all.
Okay.
I own the DVD, which is the director's cut and the normal cut. Had it on both. You had to flip the disc over, so it's one of those DVDs that had two sides. So there's
Yeah.
the old DVD. So that's I was like, I got it, but it comes with both one versions have the extended and theatrical cut of Mallrats.
I
But
was gonna
hence,
say it's not like it's like a well shot movie. It just has really good dialogue.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it does. I mean, the everything about it was great. Like Jay and Silent Bob going up against the floors.
Yeah.
That kid is back on the escalator again, and he's like, "Quick, kid's trapped in the escalator." It's just that, and Ben Affleck is like
Right.
Ben Affleck, and then the extended cut shows
Soda,
more.
no ice. He puts the cup up when Brody's getting like free drinks.
Yeah, he's just getting free drinks and like it's like that the cast in that one had a pretty good cast for it. And then it was like and then Brian Halloran always plays alternative versions of his character. So he has he plays like I mean Gil Hicks because his character in Clerks is
Oh
Dalton
yeah,
Hicks.
for the
So
love show.
each movie's got a version of it's like a Hicks family member or whatever. And he's like, but yeah, it was just like it's such a funny movie. Yeah, we'll have to do a review on that one.
Yeah, should do a rewatch.
Yeah, I think my number two, like again, a lot of my stuff like just came out recently. I think mine is I'm a big Tarantino fan, and my favorite one that I got to experience was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's my number two.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just that one was just one of my favorite Tarantino movies because I just love the chemistry between Brad Pitt and Leo. Like it's just for the performances for that. It's just if those two guys were not in that movie, I definitely would not have liked it at all. I just love that chemistry. Like I love
For the first, how long is the movie? Like 2 hour, 2.5 hours?
almost close to three, but the story is so
Boring.
invigorating. Like, yeah, you're so sucked in. But it's just like, and the big thing is like, if you don't know, if you haven't seen on Hollywood, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is set in 1960s, I believe. And if you're familiar with history in the Hollywood, you know that's when the Manson family was there, and so it covers them, but it doesn't. And that's what I kind of like that Tarantino does. Like, so essentially, Brad Pitt and Leo play characters named Cliff Booth and Rick Dalton. These two guys are fictional characters, and the entire world of this movie, the entire everything else is based off true history of the characters from Sharon Tate to everyone in the Manson girls, the family, every single one of them, and Roman Polanski, Steve McQueen, Bruce Lee, all of these were real people in this time period. The only time people that were not real were Cliff Booth and Rick Dalton. So essentially, these two, Rick Dalton lives next door to Sharon Tate, and he's just Cliff Booth plays a stuntman, and Rick Dalton is an actor that was very popular back in like old Western TVs, Bounty Law, stuff like that. So he's just trying to get his break. So it just focuses on them the whole movie, and along the way, the Manson family is there. But they nail Tarantino nails the Manson family. Like those girls were creepy, and you should look at the cast list. Every single one of them is a pretty famous actress that was that like. We just talked about Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith's daughter is one of the Manson families.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think it's just and it was funny. Like Brad Pitt and like Brad Pitt was great in this. He was just his suave self. And then the movie turns, and if you're wondering, yes, it does cover the Mansons. And I'm not going to give away the ending, but let's just say the ending for me, I was tensing up in my seat. Like when my dad and I saw this, I was tensed. I was like really worried, and then I was relieved. But yeah, the way that ending was a Tarantino ending. It was so great. But yeah, that one for me, I just love the performances. It's not a violent. It's not your typical violent Tarantino movie until the end. And then
I was gonna say, like the last 15 minutes is fucking
violent,
brutal.
but it's the tension. That's where Tarantino really does really well. Tension is the build up because you're not focused in on that story until the end when there's a narrator. But that movie was funny. Yeah, I was like the Brad Pitt and Bruce Lee sequence was absolutely hysterical. Like I mean, I have the books, the two books, the novelizations for the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That actually adds more to the movie.
Oh really?
And the funny thing is,
did the books come first? Was it based off a book?
No, movie came first. Then then Tarantino wrote the books.
Oh, interesting.
And then I think in one there was a documentary called I think it was Django to Django was I think it was like a documentary. They talked about like the spaghetti western history, and they bring up Rick Dalton in the beginning about when Rick goes to the like he does those Roman movies or the Italian flicks, and him having a Rick Dalton fit, which I can absolutely see Leo just having an absolute meltdown. Like in his trailer, he's having a meltdown in front of that director. And they brought it out, and then the Tarantino, he killed, like he said, Rick, I think it was like a couple months ago, he killed off his character, Rick Dalton. And here Rick Dalton has finally passed on this day. And I was like, oh, okay, he killed off a fictional character. But if you haven't seen it, if you like Tarantino, definitely watch it because it's not your typical Tarantino movie, but it does get violent at the end. I'll say that. But yet that violence was so satisfying. It's kind of weird to say that.
Well, yeah, it's like God damn, like the whole last 15 minutes, you're like, God damn,
I mean, and then especially the end. And then the way it ended, it was a great ending. I was like, I want to see more of this. But yeah, I love Tarantino. Like that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is such a great movie, and it was not going to be as good if it wasn't for Brad Pitt and Leo. Just they have so much chemistry. Like they you just see it like as soon as you introduce them like that, and I'm like, you're Rick fucking Dalton, don't you forget it. Like that line, like was just Brad Pitt. But that was, if you haven't seen it, it's great. But that's my favorite Tarantino movie. That's my number 2.
Nice. So for my number 2, I am going to pick actually a newer movie. I was kind of like back and forth on some because I was like I'm a huge like monster guy. Like I grew up watching Critters 3, so I felt like I should pick like a Critters movie, but my number 1 is also kind of like a monster movie. So I was like, I should do something else that I really like. So I'll jump on this Brad Pitt bandwagon. I want to pick a newer movie, Bullet Train. Something I really like. I knew it was coming out and people were talking about it, but I really didn't like look into it at all. But man, I have not had that much fun watching a movie in a long time. Like, it's on Netflix. I think it's still on Netflix.
I think so. If not, buy it.
Yeah, buy it.
Just buy it.
Stream it, whatever. That, if you're looking for just a kick-ass action movie that has like characters that you can hate, that you can love, like it's all right there. It doesn't, like, the story's not insane, but there is a story there and it's good, and it's just like one of the most fun movies I've ever seen. Like, it's awesome.
And it came out last year. I remember I saw that in the theaters, and I was telling you, like, dude, you gotta watch Bullet Train. Like, it was the most chaotic, wild, intense, violent, hilariously fun ride of the summer. That was my number 1 movie of last year before Avatar. Like, I love that movie. Like, it was just each one. There's so many different storylines, and it all came together. Like, it all
reminded me of like a Guy Ritchie movie. Like,
exactly, that's what I thought of. It was a violent Guy Ritchie movie. I felt the same way watching that, and the performances were just phenomenal from every single one. There's some cameos in it, and it's great when you see it. And after you see the cameos, look up why they decided to be in the movie. But no, yeah, that was a great one. I just watched that recently. That was so much fun. Like, it's just like Brad Pitt was great in it. It's like he's a guy that's down on his luck. That's like everything's going bad in his way. And it's like, yeah, I mean, and if you like,
it's a hitman that gets on a train, and is he trying to get a briefcase, or he's taking?
He's trying to get a briefcase because he was told to go on that because the person he's going to cover for, Carver, he's a dick. Carver is sick, and so Brad Pitt's covering for Carver, and Carver is this most notoriously badass assassin. And Brad Pitt's literally like he has to go in for a briefcase. He goes, "I'm not taking the gun. Take the gun. I'm not taking the gun." Like, and it's just the
trying to be like a pacifist.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm mansplaining. You want some water? Do you want me to read you a story? Like, it's just like this, the most like wild things are happening. He's like, how is he able to survive all this? And even a water bottle gets a story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Bullet Train was such a great one. If you like that one, you should check out The Lost City. That one stars Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum, and Brad Pitt's in it. So essentially, that one, it's not on my list.
Isn't that like a romance type?
It's a comedy romance. It's hysterical. I saw that. I went to the theater to see that. It was a nice, fun ride. Essentially, the little bit story on that one. Sandra Bullock is a writer, and she's writing her novel, or she's a main character, and there's a guy named Das. And it's Channing Tatum, and Channing Tatum is an idiot. Like, he's dressed up in Fabio hair, and she gets kidnapped by Daniel Radcliffe, and so Channing Tatum has to go, kind of save her. Brad Pitt's in it too, and it's funny. Like, it's Channing Tatum being an idiot, and for me, that's the Channing Tatum I like. And he makes an appearance. But yeah, Bullet Train. Yeah, Bullet Train is a great one.
What's your number 1?
This is one of my all-time favorite movies. Inception. This one, I just love this movie. It was came out in the summer of 2010, and I covered this movie like either in my film classes in college. I did presentations on it. It was just one of those movies where like and it was also my very first employee sneak at the theater, and it was one of those ones where it was just my dad, myself, you, your brother, and Jackie. It was all of us, this us in the theater, and we were so like invigorated with the story. And afterwards, we were just talking about the ending, and it's
Yeah.
just the storytelling was so great. The visual effects were awesome, and like the performances were great. Another Leo movie, and yes, it's another Christopher Nolan, but Christopher Nolan's a really good director. Like, I mean, his movie Oppenheimer, for a 3-hour war movie, is almost over $600 million globally. Like, for a 3-hour war movie, yeah, that's and for like, yeah, Christopher Nolan knows what he's doing. He makes some good movies. You may not like all of them, and I don't like all of his stuff, but I like a good majority of them. And as long as he's one of those ones that cares about the theater going experience. That's what I like. But no, Inception was just that movie. Like, everybody was so good. The story was great. Anytime I'm watching it, I'm like, and like I like read up stories about like is it real? Is it not real? It's like it's a story maybe you have to pay attention to, and it's a long one, but it doesn't feel long at all because you're so like
Engrossed.
engrossed in the story. Like, it's when they get into the mission part of it, that's when the movie just takes it into 10th gear, when they go to different layers and just the visuals. Like, and that was the summer too of the team-based movies. That was like the summer of or the year of 2010, where these team up action ensembles. Like, it started with The Losers, which is a great movie that came out. Like, it's a very, not many know about it. It was based off a comic book, but if you have not seen The Losers, find it and watch it. The Losers is one of those movies that's just so good. It's like the cast was insane for that, where you have Negan, Gamora, Captain America, Heimdall. All of them are in one movie. Like, this is Chris Evans before he became Captain America, and Chris Evans is an idiot in this one, but he's great. That one came out. Not many people like this one. I did the A-Team with Liam Neeson that came out in that year, which I thought was a great movie. Then we had Inception, Ensemble, and then the one that capped off the summer of 2010, the biggest ensemble like of that year, and the one that made a lot of money. And it's got a sequel coming out in September, The Expendables. Like, The Expendables, to get all those guys, they're old. They kick ass.
Yeah, they still kick ass now.
I mean, yeah, they still kick ass, and they're still going to kick ass in this new one that's coming out in September, which looks awesome. But yeah, I mean, I just loved Inception. It's just one of those ones that there's just so much about that movie, both like personal experience with it, my first employee sneak, and it's such a great movie. That's why I have that as my number one.
All right. My number one is Shaun of the Dead. I absolutely adore that movie. My name's in it too, so spelled differently. But I think everyone has heard of this movie. Essentially a zombie comedy, but it's like super funny, super quotable. It has a lot of heart in it, so you'll be
and it's kind of sad,
tearing up at one point but laughing your ass off the next. I watch it probably 2 or 3 times a year. Yeah, I just absolutely love that movie. Like, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Edgar Wright directs it. They all wrote it. It's awesome. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, it's my perfect movie because it's like, I love zombies, I love monsters, I love comedy, and they hit my sense of humor. Like, that's my sense of humor, is like Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg and Nick Frost when they're writing together. It's great.
I mean, yeah, it's a great movie, and it's based off. It's funny that they base it off and then it's a trilogy. It's a trilogy that's based off the ice cream that they ate. Yep. The Cornetto trilogy. Like, I mean,
you need anything from the shop? Cornetto.
Yeah, like, it's a great movie. I think for me, I like, and if it's like the trilogy, I like Hot Fuzz more because I'm more of the actiony guy. But Shaun of the Dead was really good, even though for a horror movie. Again, I don't do horror movies, but I like that one. I thought it was entertaining. There would be some horror. Like, there's very few horror movies that I watch. That was one of them. The other one was I think I currently have. It's called Freaky, which stars Vince Vaughn and Catherine Newton. And when that one came out, I'm like, okay, that was a horror movie. I don't care. I want to watch it. It's got comedy. It's like Freaky Friday meets Jason. Essentially,
Huh.
was the best way to describe it. So essentially, Vince Vaughn is the serial killer, and Catherine Noonan's a 17, 18-year-old girl that's at high school. And one night they switched bodies. So Vince Vaughn is now an 18-year-old teenager, so he's acting like a teenager. It's kind of like what Jumanji was about, like the latest one with The Rock. About The Rock's in it, but it's not The Rock. It's a teenager controlling the avatar of The Rock, per se. So essentially, it was that, but it's Vince Vaughn portraying a teenage girl, so him doing cheerleading moves. And each kill in the movie is different. Each one is a different stylized kill. And it's not the same kill every single one. Like somebody goes through the buzzsaw in woodshop, which is extremely satisfying. Like, I mean, when you see it, like it's like, and he goes head first through the buzzsaw. Like it is brutal, but yet extremely satisfying. But yeah, each kill is different. But that's one of the, like, that was the latest horror movie I watched, and it was a good one.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never seen it. But I don't watch like a ton of horror stuff.
No, I don't either. That one I wanted to watch, but it was Freaky Friday meets like Jason or Michael Myers or one of those.
All right. What do you want to do next? TV shows or
let's do TV shows.
TV?
All right. My third TV show is a relatively new one. It was on Cinemax. It was a show called Strike Back. And essentially it's I think it was like it was a bunch of seasons, but I think it's like at least 4 or 5 good seasons of it, and that's when I just lost interest in it. So essentially, it follows this group of like government agency called Section 20, which is British intelligence, and essentially it's this military action show with fantastic action sequences. Like every episode has like 2 or 3 great action sequences. So essentially, this set of series that called for Strike Back, each one's like a different title. It starred Philip Winchester and Sullivan Stapleton. Sullivan Stapleton was in that last 300 movie. He played Thermocles. So anyway, it follows those two guys, and they're Michael Stonebridge and Damian Scott. So essentially, Michael was an agent of Section 20, and he's tasked to get in because one of their own was captured and killed by someone. And so they had to find out a guy that was Damian Scott was a former friend of his, and they needed his assistance, civilian per se, to find out who did it. So essentially, it's those two guys, Michael Stonebridge and Damian Scott. The chemistry is phenomenal between these two. Like during the middle of a gunfight, they're bitching with each other. They saying, "Hey man, watch your head." Like, "Oh fuck you." Like there's like a lot of that, but there's a lot of banter. But the action sequences, or like each episode has an awesome sequence. Like there's a hostage takeover in a hotel. This is like the second episode, and the last the two of them, and they have to there's a bunch of people that were taken hostage, and this giant nuclear warhead is like hanging up at the ceiling, and if you bust in through those doors, that thing's gonna fall and everybody's gonna die. So it's just that sequence where and you can know that's when they build up the tension in the music, and the nuclear warhead falls, and you see Stonebridge catches it like one hand, it catches this nuclear warhead. But essentially it's each season focuses on one baddie, and and these guys, Philip, Michael Stonebridge, and each season was awesome. Like it's like one of those shows that I wanted to watch. I bought the seasons because they're so good.
You watch it when it was airing?
Yeah, sometimes I watched it when it was airing. Other times I just bought the DVD Blu-rays because I love the show. Michelle Yeoh was even in on I think the last season with these two guys. Michelle Yeoh was a part of this show. Rana Mitchell from I think that movie Doomsday, she was in this show. You had Dougray Scott was on this show. Like Charles Dance was on this show. Like a lot of really famous people that were on in their own way were in this show. And but it's all focused on Section 20, and it's like each episode's got at least, it's so much action. but it's a military action show. But like you see these two guys take on an entire army. Like these two guys with this the pistol and that take on an entire army. Like it was just one of those shows for me that was like I gotta watch every episode. But once those two guys left, I was like, oh, this show sucks because the chemistry, like those two guys sold the show. It's really hard to find it now. But if you can watch it, definitely watch it. But it's called Strike Back, and I think it started with the first season with these two guys was Project Dawn was the name of it. But I think for me, it was just the action, the chemistry between these two guys. Like it was just a great show, and I really love that show.
That's interesting. I've never watched it. It looks like you can, if you have Roku, it's I guess on Cinemax.
Mm-hmm.
It's one way to watch
I have
it.
the DVDs. Let me show you the box set. What's what they look like. Yeah, it was about four seasons, and then they made a brief appearance in that last, like one of the latest seasons. But yeah, no, it was like it was HBO / Cinemax, but it was like this was the one of the images.
Okay.
And then they listed as the final season, but it was with these two guys. But yeah, Michelle Yeoh was in this final season, and I should say Oscar Academy Award winner Michelle Yeoh was in this final season. I was like, oh yeah, that's where she was on this show. But no, it was like, and I think there's like so many sequences that are one shot. They shoot it with one shot, like one continuous shot. So it's like one of those very hard shots that's very like cool to watch. No shaky cam, nothing. Like there's none of that in this show. It's full on like action. Like at least like at least 2 or 3 per episode, and they're hour-long episodes.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a great show.
That show out. I've never seen it. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. That's cool.
I can actually let you borrow it since I'll see you tomorrow if you want to borrow.
Oh yeah, well, just hand me the first season.
Okay, yeah, it's a great show. I mean, it's like the first 2 episodes were the ones I was like, it was like we had like this one station, and then they showed that first 2 episodes like for free. If you didn't have Cinemax, you can watch these free previews of the first 2 episodes, and I was immediately hooked after the first 2 episodes.
Cool. So my third favorite TV show is Kingdom on Netflix. It's a South Korean like horror drama. I got like super sucked into this. It has zombies in it, so obviously like it's cool. Like I love zombie stuff. But it pretty much follows like the king or the emperor dies of smallpox, and the people trying to cover it up, they end up giving him like a resurrection plant to try to bring him back to life, because essentially his young wife is pregnant, and hopefully she has a boy and then she'll be taken care of. But because he's dead, there's another son he had before he remarried. So he would be emperor and not her. So she's trying to essentially bring the king back, or the emperor back to life, so she doesn't get booted out. So anyway, obviously he gets fed the resurrection plant and becomes a zombie, and then kind of all hell breaks loose. Like he ends up biting this boy, and the boy dies, and they take the body to like this small like farming town that's like starving, and they end up, this is all in the first episode, and they end up taking the kid, like while no one's looking, there's one guy that's there, and he ends up taking the kid and essentially throwing him in, like they're watering down soup just so people can survive, and he ends up putting the infected body in the soup. So they end up eating the infected corpse, which then turns like everyone into a zombie, and then it just like goes out from there. It's the characters in it are awesome. If you watch the first episode and you're not hooked by the end, it's probably not for you. So it's a really good, like, you can invest 50 minutes into it, and if you think this is kick-ass, then you're gonna love the show. If not, you've only wasted like an hour of your life. But I absolutely love this show. I've showed it to people and they've gotten into it. If you're into like I don't know, like rural Japan type, not Japan, but like Far Eastern stuff, it's cool. Like samurai, like essentially they're fighting zombies with like katanas and stuff. So it's really interesting. Like I said, the characters are all unique. They have little like quirks to them. All around great show. There's 2 seasons and like a mini movie that focuses in on the bad guy that's going to be in season 3, or bad girl that's going to be in season 3, which hopefully should come out soon. Hopefully, if not this year, next year. But it's awesome. Like if you like zombies and like that horror drama stuff, like definitely check it out. If
Yeah,
you're like I don't know, like I guess people like they got really into Squid Games. That was a big thing. So I mean, I wouldn't say it's the same type of thing because obviously it's zombies, not like a survival type shtick. But you should check it out. It's really good.
nice. My number 2, Chuck. I love the show. Like, I mean, like, and when I first like I watched like because I got into the show late, so I got into it probably when season 1 it was just ended, and season 2 was maybe in the mid season is when I think I rented all the episodes from my local library, and I was hooked because I loved the it was great. It's if you don't know, so Chuck stars Zach Levi. This is what really helped him out. So he plays Chuck Bartowski. He works at the Buy More. The Buy More is like the Geek Squad essentially, and like the start of the episode, it's not on Chuck. It's on like he's on this guy, and like he steals his government secrets, but it's actiony. So there's like McGee directed this the show, a lot of the episodes, but the show's action packed. It's an action comedy, more so comedy, but it's got all mixtures. But the action is just incredibly shot in this show. It's so good. But essentially, Bryce Larkin steals a bunch of steals this government all the government secrets called the Intersect, and he uploads it and sends it to Chuck. Chuck, just a normal guy, opens his email and is, oh, this is from my college friend Bryce Larkin. Let me press the button. All the government secrets are in his head. So now, like, there's 2 different like divisions. You have the CIA, and then you have I think it's the FBI. It was one of those 2. It's been a while since I watched the show, but anyway, one from the CIA is Sarah Walker. She's great. I think her name is Ivana Stravaskis. I can't pronounce her last name. I'm sorry, but she plays Sarah, and she's awesome in it. And then the one that plays Casey was Adam Baldwin, one of the Baldwin brothers, but he's the more disgruntled, like he's the more he's like a bouncer. That's what he kind of looks like from Firefly, Adam Baldwin. So he plays Casey, and they're both trying to like figure out what to do with Chuck. So essentially, it's like every episode is involved him like he flashes on somebody. He's like, Chuck, did you just flash? So the season 1 is good. Season 2 is when it really picks up, and at the end of season 2 is when you get like, if you're not fully invested in it, definitely watch the last episode of season 2. That's when you know, like, okay, that's when it gets good because Chuck knows how to fight.
Mm-hmm.
It went on for 5 seasons, but the big thing about this show was just the chemistry of the cast, but had such a big fan base. After season 2, it was like we didn't know the show was going to get canceled. The marketing push, the fundraiser push, the push to keep the show live, like they partnered with Subway. So they did this big Subway promotion for the show to get people invested in the show, to write letters to NBC, keep this show. But in the show, like, had so many great castmates, like guest stars. Had Dolph Lundgren guest starred on episodes. Scott Bakula, the iconic, like, ultimate female badass character. Linda Hamilton was on this show for quite a while. She played Chuck's mom. Like, it was like that. You had like so many people, like Chevy Chase, and he's kind of an asshole, but anyway, he was on that for a couple episodes. Like, there's so many like big stars that were guest starred on the show. Even Brandon Routh was a big part of this show. Like in season 3 is when he joined. But yeah, it was one of those shows. If you like action, this show's got it. If you like comedies, that, and if you like heart, because you're rooting for Chuck because you like him. Well, I also, my uncle, like, people like my that's sometimes like nickname I get is Chuck. And I even had in one of my high school classes, they had the Pythagorean theorem up, And it was one of my math professors brought up the show Chuck was that, and he kept calling me Chuck like all the time. So I guess that's how I bonded with the show. But no, like it's just the show went on for long, and yeah, like yeah, it was a great show, but yeah, it was one of those shows that I kind of like. It was a downer ending. That's what I get for liking good shows. Bad endings. But no,
Yep.
it was a great show. Like, it had a great cast, great chemistry. The action is absolutely awesome. Like when Chuck fights, like Chuck's fighting like when he knows kung fu, like that it's great. It's a great show, but it's also like it's a mixture of all that stuff. But it's on Netflix, I think, or on HBO, or sorry, Max. Sorry, I keep getting this confused with HBO Max, but it's like 5 seasons. Like if you need something to binge, it's all available for you to watch. It's such a great show. It's my number 2 like of all time.
Yeah, I've seen, I think, the first 2. I know I've seen at least the first 2, but I'm pretty sure I've seen into season 3. But yeah, it's like a really fun show, like you said. It appeals to like kind of everyone. Like you have
Yeah.
action, you have comedy, and you have heart. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely a show to check out.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Luther, starring Idris Alba. He plays a detective, and it's, I don't know, like, so like my reading habits, I love crime fiction. So like Luther to me is like one of the perfect like detectives, to where he has troubles, he focuses too much on the job, but he's like kind of crazy a little bit. Um, and I like shows that are downers, and there's a lot of downers in this show. They just did a movie. I think it might have came out maybe last year or maybe this year
It was
actually,
this year. It was I think it
um,
was a couple months ago. I think it was May
on
on Netflix.
Netflix. It was pretty good. It was pretty brutal. Like, to be honest, like the show is pretty brutal, but like I was like, damn, they really like hyped it up for this movie. But yeah, if you like the crime, like detective shows, definitely not one to skip out on. Check it out. I love Idris Alba, and to me, like I could watch him talk and be Luther all day. Like he's probably one of my favorite fictional characters. He's awesome, and that's what started my love for Idris Alba, was this show. I watched him in The Wire. He was super handsome in that. But like this is like I'll take gruff Idris Alba all day. Like he's awesome.
My number 1, it's an anime show. I grew up on this. This was my time period. It came out in the 90s. I grew up on it. Daria. I love that show.
Like it's just so weird because like when you're talking like that, I know you love Daria, but I was like, I didn't realize Charlie was a big Dragon Ball Z fan. Like that's what I was going with. Like in my head, I was like, oh, some anime that used to be
Yeah.
on like Cartoon Network.
This was back when MTV was actually good. This was not before, but this is when MTV was music television, not maternity television. This is back when MTV was actually good. And yeah, Daria, if you don't know, if you watch Beavis and Butthead, she was on that show. So this is the spinoff of Beavis and Butthead. And yes,
It's so weird that you don't like Beavis and Butthead, but you like Daria.
yeah, I just do. It just she doesn't freak me out. She's kind of like if you have like a character like a fictional character crush, that would be mine as Daria. Because I mean it's just because she's like, so essentially her and her family just moved to Lawndale, like and she's a brain. She's smart, like she knows like that everybody, all her classmates hate her because like she knows all the answers, but she's extremely sarcastic. Like she's like her sarcasm is that, and I just love that. I mean, like I think I get a lot. I have a lot of sarcasm, but it's just I just got it. But it's like, and the big selling point of the show back at that time was the music. The music in this show was absolutely like top notch, and that was both a plus and a minus. Plus, because it was great music. Bad news is why it wasn't released on DVD until years later is because they didn't have the licensing rights for all these songs. And so if you bought the DVD, you noticed the difference in the music. I remember a lot of the music that was in it, the show, and that's what it was like. It was great. It was like one of them was like it got me into a band called Stabbing Westward. And it was one of the songs was played in Daria. And I was like, ironically, after watching that episode, we heard the full song and on the radio as we were in PA visiting my grandparents. It was like years ago when I was a kid. And we were going to like some sort of like fancy dinner or some like some like a celebration or a party, and that song came on, and it was like, oh my god, I remember this from Daria. But no, it's just this the characters are just great. I mean, her friend Jane was great. All the other characters are iconic. The show is hilarious. It's funny and it's just like this Darius the sarcasm was the best. Like this random ones. I'm like, hey, if you play that John Lennon song backwards, it says, or like, look at all the people standing in a mall. Isn't that weird? Like, it was just the randomness of it. Like, this, what is she gonna say? And it's absolutely hysterical. And it was just, yeah, it was just one of those shows I just loved. And it's like I grew up on the show. I always wanted to review the show. Not many people knew of it, and that's why I'm like, they're bringing it back, but it's not Daria. It's like another character, and it's just I don't know. But it's just the music in it was fantastic.
Is it a character from Daria at least?
Well, it's some characters, but it's not Daria. It's Jody. I think she was one character that was in it, but you don't go why. And then they'll bring other characters back, but it's not. I'm like, I can't watch. I mean, I hope it does well so we can get Daria. But no, it's just, and anytime I see images or videos on YouTube, I'm sharing it. Like my Twitter profile, if you find me on Twitter, is the image of Trent and his band Mystic Spiral. And if you find it, I'm like, oh my god, yeah, that's just me. This shows you my fandom for it. Like I keep saying, yeah, it's Mystic Spiral, but we're thinking about changing the name. But that's just one of the iconic lines that Trent keeps saying. But it's just that's Jane's brother Trent, and he's just a musician, but he's just that mysterious one. And the way he just speaks is just kind of like, hey, it's just like this a nonchalant hey, but it's just. I grew up on the show. This was my show in the 90s, what I grew up on, and that's why it's just my number one. I'm hoping to do a couple reviews for the show. You can find all the episodes on Paramount Plus, but it's just you're gonna notice a big difference because the music is just it's missing.
My number one show, absolutely love it. I probably watch it I don't know, 2-3 times a year. It's only 2 seasons, and each season's only 6 episodes. But it's spaced.
I was about to say spaced.
Yep. Yeah. I'm bringing it back to like Shaun of the Dead. So this is like kind of the first thing I think they all worked on together. I could be wrong. But yeah, you have Simon Pegg, Edgar Wright, Nick Frost again. Jessica Hines is in it. It's mainly Simon Pegg and Jessica, or Tim Beasley and Daisy Steiner. They become roommates because they're both looking for a flat together, and just the comedy ensues. A lot of the characters that are in Spaced are in all the other like Cornetto movies, if you want to say. So like just seeing like the cast get older and like grow together, like it's just awesome. I love the show. Super funny. If you're into video games, movies, TV shows, anything pop culture, there is references galore in everything. Super funny, super bingeable. I don't know, like when I bought it when it came out on DVD, and that was a long time ago. It was probably like when I started drinking some. So it might have been around when I turned 21. But that was like one of the things. I'd get home from work, have a few beers, and just watch like part of a season of Spaced. It's awesome. Like I can't recommend it enough if you are a video game, TV, or movie nerd. Like it is comic books. It's funny as shit, and a lot of the jokes they used in Spaced get repeated kind of in like Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, and World's End. So it's definitely like if you're one of those people that loves to get like different references or Easter eggs and stuff, then you need to check out this series.
I remember when we were at Salisbury, like when I was like, when we were celebrating my 21st birthday, you brought that show up. We were watching it. I don't remember much of that night.
Yeah, I brought it up because I wanted you guys to see it because I don't think any of you all watched it yet.
No.
So I had it playing on in the hotel room when we were
Yeah.
hanging out.
That was an interesting time. I'll admit that. We tried to get food afterwards, and it was pouring rain. Like, yep, that no.
Yeah, that's why I stayed in. I was like, I'm watching space. Like, y'all can go.
And we didn't go because it was pouring rain.
All right. So video games.
Yeah. This is tough. I played a lot of great games. I would say my third favorite game is like it's a trilogy. I love the Uncharted games. It's just, I mean,
Do you have a favorite one out of the three, or you just love them as a whole?
I just love them as a whole because each one, like, it was a great story from from the first game, which that one was one of the, like, I heard of it and I was like, oh, it was one of those impulse buys. Like, it was like back when it came out on the PS3. I was like, oh, let me just buy this one, and it was a lot of fun. Second game was awesome, which there's a sequence in the new Mission Impossible one that's based off that section of the game and the train sequence. Yeah. So if you played Uncharted 2 and oh yeah, I remember this sequence. This is awfully familiar. So yeah, like the third game was fun, which they used part of the movie. They did part of that from. Yeah. And then the fourth game was just a great ending to it. I think as a whole, it's hard to pick which one because each one was fun. And I just love that character.
Yeah, I love that series. Nathan Drake is awesome. The voice actor is awesome. Like, yeah, that is like, if you have a PlayStation and you have not played that series, like, what is wrong with you? Like, that's just like a staple. Yeah. My number 3 is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, I haven't finished that game.
I know a lot of people don't like it. It's kind of slow paced, but I fucking love everything about that game. I love the slow burn. I love the characters and how they evolve over the story. I love literally just like riding my horse in the woods and like hunting animals. Like there's something like cathartic about it. Just like the random encounters you meet, like just from exploring the world. There's just so many little details in it. I've dumped, I don't know, like, it has to be over like 200 hours probably playing that game. Like I've done 2 playthroughs. Like it's just, I love it. Like, and then it ends and you play as John, as like the epilogue, and like that there's a scene to where it's like you and 2 other people like building a house together, and it is probably like one of my most favorite scenes in any game. And it's just so stupid because it's just like 3 people like putting together a house, but just from like the history of the characters, it's just, I don't know, it's awesome. I love it.
I have it. I just I played a little bit of it. I just got to get back into it. I bought it.
Like I said, it's a slow burn game, and it's like, I don't know, it's super chill. Like you can do missions, but it's not like some of the missions aren't like super exciting. But I don't know. I just love that world.
I mean, it's not something to do. I know South Park made fun of it. It was like that got me. Okay, I might want to check this game out. And when I played a little bit of it, it was fun. But again, my backlog is so huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've heard of it. I have it. I just haven't had time to really invest a lot into that. And that's the problem with this open world sandbox, because there's so much to do. You have so much to do, yet so little time. My number 2 game came back out. Like, jeez, this game was released so many times on a different console. Deadpool. I love this game.
Oh, really?
I love that game. It was like I rented it from the 360 when it was like, or back on GameFly, and it's like you saw it was around 2014 is when I played it, and Noah North voiced Deadpool in this one. This game was hysterical. It was incredibly funny. It's just all the references in it were just hysterical, and I just loved the character Deadpool. That's my favorite Marvel character. Even though he's not a superhero, he's an anti-hero. I just love the character, and it's just the game was so much fun of all the stuff you got to do. Like there's a sequence where you have to where you're bitch slapping Wolverine so many times. He's unconscious and he's not waking up, so you're bitch slapping him, and he's saying something different every single time. Like you're in love with Rogue, and like in this Deadpool way, that it's not for kids at all, but the game is and he's annoying Cable. He goes, "Knock it off, Wade." And it's just like yeah, it was just such a fun game. I bought it like after like I played on the 360. I bought it on the PS3, and then when the Deadpool movie came out, it was in 2016. My brother and I we saw the Thursday night showing of it. I bought the PS4 version, trading in the older version for it.
I didn't realize they did a PS4 version.
They did. But I mean, but in order to play it, you got to play it offline because the online whatever multiplayer version they had of it is no longer available. You can still play the game, but you can't be connected to the internet. It's gonna be laggy. But yeah, they need to like Insomniac Games. Since you're doing Wolverine, you need to do a Deadpool game. Like get on that. Like we need a new Deadpool game. Like and have Ryan Reynolds do the voice. Like I just love that game so much. That one I can keep playing like over and over again, and it never gets old. It's so funny.
Yeah, I remember the writing being really good in that game and laughing my ass off. I played it for 360. I think that might have been like a GameFly rental from back in the day. So my number 2 is Persona 5 Royal. I am absolutely obsessed with this game. I love everything about it, the art style. It's a JRPG. It's like so they had like an original version which is just Persona 5, and then they did Persona 5 Royal. I've beat both of them. I've 100% Royal, and that is like those two games together is like 260 hours, maybe even more. It's so much fun. The characters are all awesome. It got me into the Persona series to where I worked my way back and played like Persona 4, Persona 3, and like spin-off games and stuff like that. It has like a little dating sim type thing to where you can romance the characters, which I have fun with that kind of stuff. And just like the story and like the world design to each dungeon you go into, it's just really good. If you're a JRPG fan or an RPG fan, there's no excuse not to play this game. Kick-ass soundtrack. I constantly listen to, like, if I'm cooking or doing the dishes, usually I'm listening to like Persona music. They have dancing game spinoffs, which are just rhythm-based games that you hit buttons to. I fucking have played all of them. I love them. It's great. And yeah, like it's just, I love Persona so much. Like I collect some of the figures for it just because, like, I don't know. That's like the one game that hit me to where I was like, I love everything about this whole series. But yeah.
My number 1, I finished this recently. It's a more recent game, and I think it's like it definitely deserves a sequel. It came back out, and like I played this during the pandemic when 2020 started. Days Gone. I love that game. Like it was one of the ones I played a little bit of, and then when I picked it up and like in the pandemic, like I picked it up and I was so invigorated in the story and the characters. Essentially, Days Gone, I call it a mixture between Sons of Anarchy and Walking Dead. So essentially, you play a biker named Deacon St. John, which that's just a badass name, and it's like the world's gone to crap. There's zombies out there, and these are not your typical zombies. And you're just trying to like figure like get in with the groups, doing these things, and it's like it's a story. But the big story arc is like before when the pandemic just started, or when this world started going to hell. You got married to a girl named Sarah, and you're trying to figure out what happened to her. And it's just a story of like that. You see the flashbacks of like him like sending her off on a helicopter somewhere, and then you're being told that the helicopter crashed, and like so you're trying to figure out what happened to your wife, and while surviving like the different like faction groups or camps, and essentially you're like, and your main vehicle is your motorcycle, and the cool thing about this is your motorcycle. If you lose your motorcycle, you are screwed because it's not going to magically respawn back to you. So you got to remember, where did you park your vehicle to get back to? Because when a giant horde of these freakers are chasing after you, and these things are like the World War Z zombies, like that, with an added bit element of crack to them. There are
a little bit of crack.
A little bit, yeah. because they multiply like crazy. So this giant wave is that there's so many times where me being me, I like to goof off in games. I was goofing off, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna shoot a couple of them. Okay, I'm just gonna run around. Oh, holy crap! There it is. So I get on my motorcycle. They swarm your motorcycle and take you off, and you're dead. Like it's so crazy, yet it's so funny. Yet when you're trying to escape, oh no, I crashed into a wall. Yep, I just got to eat my zombies. Like it's just that. It's just the characters, like the character you play, the gameplay game, like the guns you use. It's like you use a pistol, your normal one, but it's like your silencer. You have to like find like elements. Like okay, they're attracted to noise, so you can't use that. So you need to take a bottle from a trash can to put it on your gun. And then you can take out the zombies quietly. But it's just the story. It was so invigorating. I'm so like one of the ones, like I got to the end, I couldn't put it down. I was like, all right, I'm so done. I'm close to the story. I need to finish this. Mm-hmm. And my dad was bummed because he didn't get to see me finish it. But the ending was like, I platinumed this game. Even though it's not, I got the platinum trophy for it because they put so much time and effort. It's a long game. It's at least like if you want to fully do everything, it's maybe 40 plus hours. But yet it's such a fun story. There's so much fun stuff to do. Like riding your motorcycle is like the coolest thing in it. Is one of those games that I kind of want. Like it deserves a sequel, but Sony won't do a sequel. They need to. It's just one of the ones, especially the way it ends. I'm like, I want to continue with these characters, and I believe they're doing a movie for it. And I hope they do the movie justice because that was one of my all-time. This is one of my favorite games in the most recent years from Sony. It was such a great game.
Yeah, I've played some of it, and then I think something else came out, and my attention went elsewhere. But I need to go back and play it, especially like I know we've talked about it before.
Yeah,
just the way you talk about it, I need to go back and replay it, or
like it's a
start over and finish.
Yeah, like start over, like do a Sean plays Days Gone.
Yeah,
or like how many Days Gone has Sean played Days Gone? Or some of those one of them was that. It's a great game to play, and it'd be something fun to stream play because it's like it's some of the ones that like if you just pick it up a little bit and you just want to kill zombies, you can. But it's the story is the big selling point for this game, and also having a character named Deacon St. John. That's pretty cool.
So my number one, and speaking of like the best stories of all time, some people might call Days Gone the Kmart version of this game. It's Last of Us. That is the
game.
Yeah, it's my all-time favorite game. I was talking about Luther being one of my favorite fictional characters. Joel it's between him and Luther. Like I just love Joel as a character. Troy Baker does an awesome job. The script is great. You feel for all the characters, and it's a game to where I remember it coming out, and I bought it, and I could not wait because it shipped late for some reason. I ordered it online, and I couldn't get it until 2 days after it came out, and I ended up just buying it digitally. So I had 2 copies of it. And then when when they remastered it for PS4, I bought it again. And then when they redid it for PS5, I bought it again. Like I play this game at least once a year, just do like a playthrough. I love everything about this game. Voice acting's great, but I mean that's Naughty Dog in a nutshell. Yeah. Like you were saying with Uncharted, just like all the characters are just so well developed and well acted. It's amazing.
I bought the game 3 times as well. I bought it on the PS3. I didn't finish it on the PS3. I bought the remastered version on PS4, but I did finish that version, and I just bought the PS5 version because I wanted to play it on the PS5. Especially because to go on with the show, because the show is incredible too.
Yeah,
like it's just the show. There's just so much great things about the show. And the game was so good, but that hospital scene was the best part of the show, and it was the best part of the game. That was my favorite sequence in that game. I love that game. I didn't finish the second game, and I'm dreading the second season. Just flat out saying I'm dreading it.
Are you gonna go back and play the second game?
I probably will. at some point, whenever I feel like it, if they do the remaster for the PS5, I'll probably get
I mean, the
that.
game still looks really good. Like, it's not
It
like it's that
does.
far.
Yeah, I know. But it's just like I don't know. After playing this, got into a part in the second game. I just had to put it down. I couldn't finish it. It's just it really messed me up. Like it just like like immensely because I was just like,
It's definitely like the first one. I was never like mentally drained from playing it.
mhm.
Like, there's definitely like moments you're like, fuck, man. But that second one, man, I was like stressed out the whole time playing it. It was awesome. It was great. But yeah, the whole time I was like, I don't know. I've never replayed that one. I beat
Yeah.
it once. I loved it, but I've never gone back. I need to, just because I do kind of want to 100% those games because I like them so much. But
Yeah, I mean, The Last of Us is a great game, and the show was just good. I mean, they nailed the casting perfectly on that show. Like
yeah,
Pedro Pascal is Joel, and
oh yeah,
Belle Ramsey is
Ellie.
she's Ellie.
Yeah,
She's
that's
Ellie.
perfect. All right, well, yeah, let's wraps up episode 1.
Sorry, it's been a long one. We covered a lot of stuff, but yeah, it's just it just shows you that we have so much knowledge, and we're really excited to just go on this journey of this channel of like all the stuff that we'll be able to do, and there's stuff that we're gonna do that we didn't even talk about because we'll think of it last minute. But I hope you liked this episode. Sorry, it was kind of a long one, but it was kind of intro into our backgrounds, and we're looking forward to having people watch this stuff. And the last question I got to ask is, are you entertained?
Get ready for next episode with the Meg 2 review.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. See you guys.